Headlights cut through darkness, and there she was, standing at the edge of the forest road, palm raised, face caught between pleading and fear. Something in those trees behind her must have been chasing her. That image would stay with him forever. The way the high beams made her look almost unreal. The way her chest heaved like she had been running for miles. The way her summer clothes seemed wrong for a night this cold. He had been driving for 12 hours straight. His eyelids felt like sandpaper. The coffee in his thermos had gone cold somewhere around the state line. His truck's digital time card showed he had maybe 40 minutes left before the system would lock him out. 40 minutes to find a safe spot to pull over. 40 minutes before the rules forced him to stop whether he wanted to or not. And now this. The forest road stretched ahead like a tunnel. Pines crowded both sides. No streetlights, no houses, no other vehicles for the past 20 minutes. Just him, his rig, and now this woman, who looked like she had crawled out of a nightmare. The darkness beyond his headlights seemed absolute. He eased off the gas. The air brakes hissed, gravel crunched under 18 wheels as he guided the truck to the shoulder. His dash cam kept recording. The small red light blinked in the corner of his vision. Later, that blinking light would matter more than he could possibly know. She ran toward the passenger door before he even came to a full stop. Her hand slapped against the metal. He could hear her breathing through the window, ragged, desperate, the kind of breathing that comes after real terror. He unlocked the door. She climbed in fast, slammed it shut, locked it herself. Then she pressed her back against the seat and stared at the tree line, her gaze fixed on the shadows between the pines. She seemed to expect something to emerge from that darkness at any moment. He waited. Sometimes silence works better than questions. She was maybe 25. Dark hair tangled with leaves and small twigs. A crop top that might have been white before tonight. Denim shorts, sneakers with no socks. A scratch on her forearm that had stopped bleeding but still looked raw. And clutched in her left hand, a phone with a cracked screen that caught the glow from his instrument panel. The phone was dark, dead, or broken. He could not tell which, but she held it like a lifeline anyway. Her voice came out hoarse, thin, like she had been screaming earlier, and her throat had not recovered, like the words hurt to form. Please drive. Please, just drive. He put the truck in gear. The engine rumbled. Trees began sliding past the windows again. He watched her in his peripheral vision. She kept checking the side mirror, kept looking back at the darkness they were leaving behind. Her fingers never stopped trembling. "You okay?" he asked. Stupid question. Obviously she was not okay. But sometimes stupid questions open doors that smart ones cannot. Sometimes the obvious breaks the ice. She shook her head. "I don't know anymore." The heater hummed between them. Warm air pushed against the cold seeping through the windows. Outside, the forest road curved gently to the right. His headlights swept across more trees, more darkness, more nothing, just endless pines. "There's a truck stop about 30 miles ahead," he said. "We can call someone from there, get you some help." She turned to look at him for the first time. Her eyes were wide, pupils dilated, the look of someone whose world had cracked open. "No stops," she said. "Not until we're out of this county. Promise me." He did not promise. He could not promise something without understanding why, but he kept driving. The road ahead was straight now. His speedometer held steady at 55, fast enough to make progress, slow enough to handle any surprises. "What happened back there?" he asked. She looked down at the dead phone in her hand, turned it over, pressed the power button. Nothing. The screen stayed black. She pressed it again anyway, hoping, desperate for any sign of life from the device. "I was at a cabin," she said. "A rental, About 5 miles back through the woods. There's a gravel path that connects to this road. He knew the area. Rental cabins scattered through these forests. Popular with hikers in summer. Empty in fall. Usually empty anyway. The kind of places where people went to disconnect from the world. Go on, he said. I was with my boyfriend. We came up here for his birthday. 4 days in the woods. No cell service. No distractions. That was supposed to be the point. She paused. Her fingers tightened around the broken phone. Her knuckles went white from the pressure. It was supposed to be the point, she repeated. Like she was trying to convince herself of something. Like the words tasted different now. He let the silence sit. The truck's engine filled the space. The tires hummed against asphalt. Somewhere behind them, the forest kept its secrets. The miles accumulated, like prayers unanswered. Something went wrong, he said. Not a question, just a bridge to help her continue. Just an acknowledgement that he was listening. She nodded. Everything went wrong. But not the way you're thinking. Not like a fight. Not like he hurt me. It was something else. Something that doesn't make any sense. Something I can't explain without sounding crazy. The first rehook landed. His curiosity sharpened. A cabin in the woods. A boyfriend. A birthday trip. And something that did not make sense. The pieces were there, but the picture refused to form. The story had teeth he could not yet see. Try me, he said. I've been driving these roads for 17 years. I've heard a lot of stories. Strange ones. Sad ones. Some that kept me up at night. She looked out the windshield. The road ahead remained empty. No other headlights. No other taillights. Just the two of them moving through darkness towards something she hoped was better than what she had left behind. Just two strangers sharing a cab in the dark night. His name is Marcus. Was Marcus? I don't know how to talk about him anymore. Past tense feels wrong. Present tense feels impossible. Every word I use seems like a lie. She took a breath, let it out slowly. Her shoulders dropped slightly. We got to the cabin on Tuesday, 4 days ago. Everything was normal, better than normal. He was happy, really happy. We cooked dinner together, drank wine, watched the sunset from the porch, went to bed early. It felt like exactly what we needed. Another pause. Longer this time. The memory seemed to hurt. Wednesday morning he was different, not dramatically different, just a little off, like he was distracted by something I couldn't see. I asked if he was okay. He said yes, said he just slept weird, bad dreams. I believed him because I had no reason not to. People have bad dreams all the time. The truck crested a small hill. The road descended into a shallow valley. Trees pressed closer on both sides. His headlights made the branches look like reaching arms, like fingers grasping for something just out of reach. By Wednesday night, the distraction had become something else. He kept going to the window, looking out at the trees. I asked what he was looking for. He said nothing, but he kept looking, kept standing there in the dark, staring at something only he could see. She turned the broken phone over again, a nervous habit, something to do with her hands, while her mind traveled back to that cabin. Thursday he barely spoke, barely ate, just sat on the porch and watched the forest. I tried to talk to him, tried to figure out what was happening. He said he was fine, said he just needed quiet. But his eyes were wrong, empty but also full, like he was seeing something I couldn't see, like he was listening to a voice only he could hear. The second micro-reward arrived, a specific detail, a behavioral shift, a timeline taking shape. Tuesday normal, Wednesday distracted, Thursday silent. Something had changed him, something in that cabin or those woods, something that worked slowly, methodically, like a poison spreading through his mind. I started getting scared, she continued. Not scared of him exactly, scared of what was happening to him, scared because I didn't understand it, Scared because he wouldn't explain it. Scared because I felt like I was watching him become someone else. He glanced at his mirrors. The road behind them remained empty. Just darkness swallowing the distance they had covered. Just black asphalt vanishing into nothing. Thursday night, I woke up, and he wasn't in bed. I found him outside, standing at the edge of the tree line. Just standing there, barefoot in the dirt, staring into the woods, like he was waiting for something, like he had an appointment with the darkness itself. Her voice cracked slightly. The memory was still fresh, still raw. I called his name. He didn't respond. I walked up behind him, touched his shoulder. He turned around and looked at me, but his eyes didn't recognize me, like I was a stranger, like I was the one who didn't belong. The truck's heater cycled off. The sudden quiet made her words feel heavier, more real. Then he smiled, but it wasn't his smile. It was wrong, too wide, too empty. A smile that had no warmth behind it, no humanity. And he said something I'll never forget. She stopped. The silence stretched. The engine hummed. The road unwound ahead of them. What did he say? The driver asked. He said, "They showed me where to go. They showed me what to find. And now I have to bring something back for them." The third piece of evidence landed. A statement. A claim. A reason that explained nothing while suggesting everything. They. Who were they? What had they shown him? What did he need to bring back? The questions multiplied like shadows at dusk. I asked him what he meant. He just kept smiling that wrong smile. Then he walked into the woods. Just walked in, barefoot. No flashlight. No hesitation. Like he knew exactly where he was going. Like the darkness was a door, and he had finally been given the key. Like he had been waiting his whole life for this moment. She was shaking now, subtle tremors in her shoulders, hands gripping the phone so tight, her knuckles had gone pale. The memory was a wound that wouldn't close. I yelled after him, begged him to stop, but he just kept walking, disappeared into the trees, swallowed by shadows. I waited. I don't know how long, hours maybe. He didn't come back. So I went looking for him. The road curved again. His headlights swept across a wooden mile marker, numbers painted in faded white. 22 miles to the next town, 22 miles to lights, and people and phones that actually worked. 22 miles to sanity. I took a flashlight and went into the woods, called his name until my voice gave out, searched for tracks, found nothing, just trees and darkness. And this feeling, this terrible feeling, like something was watching me, judging me, deciding whether I was worth noticing. She paused. Her breathing had quickened. I searched until dawn. Never found him. Never found a trace. It was like the forest had swallowed him whole. Like he had never existed at all. Like 4 years together meant nothing to whatever took him. The driver kept his eyes on the road. His grip on the steering wheel had tightened without him realizing it. Her story was impossible. People do not simply walk into the woods and vanish. But her fear was real. Her confusion was genuine. Whatever had happened in that cabin, she believed every word she was saying. "Did you call for help?" he asked. She held up the broken phone. No signal at the cabin. And this stopped working yesterday afternoon. Screen cracked when I dropped it. Then it just died. Like the battery gave up all at once. Like something drained it on purpose. There must have been a landline, a neighbor, something. The nearest cabin is 2 miles away. I hiked there this afternoon. Nobody home. Shutters closed. Probably won't be anyone there until spring. Just empty buildings in empty woods. She looked out the window. Trees, still, always trees. An endless army of them. I went back to our cabin. Packed a bag. Started walking toward the main road. I figured I'd flag someone down. Get to town. Get help. Find someone who could search properly. Someone with dogs, drones, equipment. Someone who could find what I couldn't. How long were you walking? Since sunset. 4 hours maybe. This road doesn't see much traffic at night. You're the first vehicle I've seen. The only headlights in all that darkness. 4 hours on a forest road in summer clothes. The temperature had dropped into the low 40s after dark. She must have been freezing, must have been terrified, must have questioned whether help would ever come, must have felt like the only person left in the world. You said something was chasing you, he reminded her. When I first saw you, your face, your body language, you looked like someone running from something, not just walking, running. She nodded slowly. About a mile back, I heard footsteps behind me. Heavy footsteps, breaking branches, disturbing leaves, something moving through the underbrush, following me, matching my pace. Could have been a deer, a bear maybe. It wasn't. How do you know? Because deer don't whisper. Bears don't call your name. The fourth piece of evidence. A detail that changed everything. Something had followed her. Something that knew her name. Something that moved through darkness with intention. Something that wanted her to know it was there. You heard your name? I heard Marcus's voice. But it wasn't right. Too flat. Too mechanical. Like someone reading words without understanding them. Like a recording played back by someone who doesn't speak the language. Like whatever was using his voice had never been human. His hands had gone cold, despite the heater. The story had shifted. No longer just a missing boyfriend. No longer just a woman stranded on an empty road. Something else now. Something that refused to fit into categories he understood. Something that existed outside the rules of the world he knew. I ran. She continued. I ran as hard as I could. Didn't look back. Didn't stop. Just ran until my lungs burned and my legs cramped, and I couldn't take another step. That's when I saw your lights. Coming around the curve. Cutting through the darkness. That's when I knew I might actually survive this night. The truck rolled through a shallow dip in the road. The suspension creaked. His coffee thermos shifted in the cup holder. He reached out and steadied it without thinking. The familiar gesture grounded him. We need to get you to the sheriff, he said. File a report. Get a search team out there before the trail goes cold. I know you're right, but I'm scared of what they'll find, or what they won't find. I'm scared that I already know the answer, and I just can't accept it. I'm scared that saying it out loud will make it real. They drove in silence for a while. The forest gradually began to thin. Spaces appeared between the trees. The darkness felt slightly less absolute. The world seemed to remember that other places existed. Can I ask you something? She said. Sure. Your dash cam. It's been recording this whole time? He nodded. Always runs when the truck is moving. Company policy. Safety thing. Protects drivers. Protects the company. Creates a record of everything. So it recorded me. Standing there on the road. Getting in. Everything I've told you. I guess so. Why? She turned to face him directly. Her eyes had changed. The fear was still there, but something else had joined it. Calculation. Purpose. A thread of something that looked almost like hope. A reason to keep fighting. Because I need proof. I need something that shows I was here. Something that shows I'm not crazy. Something that documents this moment. Whatever happens next needs a starting point, a timestamp, evidence that I existed and that I tried to get help. He understood. Evidence mattered. Records mattered. In a world where stories could be dismissed and victims could be doubted, documentation was survival. Proof was armor. I'll give you a copy, he said. When we get to town, you can have the whole clip. Thank you. Thank you so much. The road ahead brightened slightly. A glow on the horizon. The first signs of civilization after miles of emptiness. A gas station. A diner. A life that continued despite the darkness. A world that still made sense. "There's the truck stop," he said. 10 minutes out. We'll pull in. You can use their phone, get warm, get some food. Then we'll figure out the next steps together." She nodded, but her attention had drifted elsewhere. She was looking at the dash cam now. The small device mounted on the windshield. The blinking red light that promised objectivity. A witness that couldn't lie. A machine that didn't know how to forget. "Wait," she said suddenly. Her voice had changed. Sharper. Alert. Something had occurred to her. "What?" "Your dash cam. It's been running the whole time we've been on this road. The whole time since you found me." "That's what I said. So it recorded the road behind us too. The side mirrors. Everything in the frame. Everything visible through the windshield." He began to understand. The dash cam's lens was wide angle. It captured not just the road ahead, but the edges, the periphery, whatever was visible through the windshield, including reflections, including mirrors. "When I got in," she continued, "I was looking at the tree line, watching for whatever was following me. Your side mirror would have reflected the road behind. The dash cam would have caught that reflection. It would have recorded whatever was there." His pulse quickened. A new possibility, a new piece of evidence. Something tangible in a story full of shadows. "You want to check the footage?" "I need to check the footage. Right now. Before we get to town. Before I talk to anyone official. I need to see what was behind me, on that road. I need to know if I'm crazy, or if something was really there." He hesitated. The truck stop was close. Safety was close. Checking footage meant stopping, meant delay, meant sitting still on a dark road when something might still be out there, might still be following. "Please," she said. "I have to know. I have to see if there was really something there, or if I imagined the whole thing. I have to know. Before I try to explain this to anyone else. I have to know what I'm asking them to believe." He pulled the truck onto a wide shoulder, set the parking brake, killed the headlights, but left the engine running. The cab fell into shadows, broken only by the instrument panel's glow and the dash cam's steady blink. The darkness outside pressed against the windows. "Give me a second," he said. He reached for the dash cam, pressed the button to access playback mode. The small screen lit up with menu options. He scrolled back through the timeline, found the moment from 20 minutes ago, the moment his headlights had first touched her standing on that empty road. "There," she said. "Right there. Stop." He paused the playback. The frame showed exactly what he remembered. Her standing at the road's edge, palm raised, face caught in high beams, trees behind her fading into black. A frozen moment of desperation captured in pixels. "Zoom in on the side mirror," she said. "The passenger side. It shows what's behind me. It shows what was following." His dash cam had a zoom function. Not great quality, but functional. He expanded the image, focused on the mirror visible at the frame's edge. The reflection was grainy, pixelated, degraded by distance and darkness, but visible, definitely visible. The road behind her was not empty. Something stood at the curve they had just passed. A figure, human-shaped but wrong somehow. The proportions were off. Too tall, too thin, arms hanging at angles that didn't match normal anatomy, limbs bent in ways that suggested broken bones or no bones at all. And even through the terrible resolution, even through the digital noise and the darkness and the distance, one detail came through clearly, unmistakably. The figure was smiling. That same wide, empty smile she had described. The smile that wasn't a smile. The smile that belonged to something wearing a human expression without understanding what it meant. A smile that had nothing to do with happiness. She made a sound. Not quite a scream, not quite a sob, something between, something that came from the part of the brain that remembers what hunted us before we learned to build walls and light fires. The sound of ancient fear, recognizing ancient danger. That's him, she whispered. That's Marcus. But that's not Marcus. That's not anything human. That's not anything that belongs in this world. He stared at the frozen image, the figure in the mirror, the trees behind it, the road beneath it, everything perfectly ordinary, except for the thing that stood there, the thing that had followed her through darkness, the thing that had called her name with a voice that wasn't a voice. We need to go, he said. Right now. We need to leave. He released the parking brake, turned the headlights back on, put the truck in gear. The engine roared as he pressed the accelerator harder than he should have. The rig lurched forward. Gravel sprayed. Rubber bit into asphalt. Distance accumulated like a prayer. The truck stop appeared faster than expected. Lights blazing against the night. Pumps and parking lots. And people moving between buildings. Evidence of a world that still made sense. A world where things had explanations and figures in mirrors were just tricks of light. He pulled into the lot, found a spot near the entrance, set the brake. His hands were still trembling. We're here, he said. You're safe. She didn't respond. She was still staring at the dash cam, at the paused image, at the thing that had worn her boyfriend's face. He reached over and ejected the memory card, held it out to her. The small plastic square felt heavy. Take it. Show them. Let them decide what it means. She took the card with trembling fingers, closed her fist around it, held it like a talisman, like the only evidence that her nightmare was real. What if they don't believe me? She asked. Then you show them this. And if they still don't believe you, that's their problem, not yours. You know what you saw. You know what you experienced. That has to be enough. Sometimes that's all we have. She looked at him, really looked at him. For the first time since she climbed into his cab, her eyes held something other than fear. Gratitude, connection, recognition of one human helping another. Why did you stop for me? She asked. On that dark road. In the middle of nowhere. You could have just driven past. Most people would have. Most people would have pretended not to see. He thought about it. The honest answer was complicated. Instinct, humanity, the memory of his own daughter, the hope that if she ever stood on a dark road with her hand raised, someone would stop for her. Someone would choose compassion over convenience. Because leaving someone behind is a choice too, he said. And some choices you have to live with forever. Some choices define who you are. She nodded. Opened the door. Let the night air rush in. Sounds of the truck stop followed. Diesel engines. Distant music. Voices. The ordinary symphony of people going about their lives. The beautiful mundane noise of the normal world. Thank you, she said. For stopping. For listening. For the footage. For all of it. For being human when you didn't have to be. Go make that call. Find people who can help. Find answers. She stepped down from the cab, closed the door behind her, walked toward the building with the memory card clutched in her hand. He watched until she disappeared inside, until the glass doors closed behind her, until she became someone else's responsibility. He sat there for a long time. Longer than he should have. His eyes kept drifting to the dash cam, to the space where the memory card had been, to the empty slot that no longer held evidence of whatever had stood on that forest road, to the absence where proof used to live. Finally, he reached for his thermos. The coffee was cold, but he drank it anyway. The bitter taste felt appropriate, felt grounding, felt like something real in a night that had stopped making sense, felt like an anchor to the world he knew. He thought about the figure in the mirror, the smile, the proportions, the way it had stood there watching as he drove away, watching but not following, patient in a way that suggested time meant nothing to it. The sheriff's office was 15 minutes away. She would tell her story, show her footage, file her report. Search teams would deploy at first light. They would sweep those woods with dogs and drones and determination. They would look for Marcus, for evidence, for answers. He wondered what they would find. He wondered if they would find anything at all. The memory card held everything. The road, the figure, the proof that something had happened, even if nobody could explain what. That footage would become evidence, would become documentation, would become the starting point for an investigation that might never reach a conclusion, that might ask questions nobody wanted answered. And somewhere in those woods, in the darkness between trees that had watched humanity for thousands of years, something waited, something that had been Marcus and was not Marcus anymore, something that smiled without joy and called names without meaning. He started the truck, pulled out of the lot, headed for the highway. His route would take him 300 miles east before sunrise, 300 miles of asphalt and diesel and the steady rhythm of distance accumulating, 300 miles to put between himself and that forest road. But he would never take this road again. Never let his headlights touch that particular stretch of darkness. Some places you only visit once. Some places hold things that cannot be unseen. He drove toward dawn with a story he would never tell, a memory he would never share, a piece of footage he had copied to his phone before giving her the card, not because he didn't trust her, but because evidence matters, records matter, and some truths need more than one witness. The forest fell behind him, mile by mile, tree by tree, until it was just a darkness in his mirrors, a shadow on the horizon, a memory that would fade with time, but never fully disappear. She had asked why he stopped. The answer he gave was true, but incomplete. The complete answer included something he couldn't explain. A feeling, a pull, a sense that this moment had been waiting for him, that he had been meant to be on this road at this exact time. Whatever had called Marcus into those woods had also arranged for a witness, a deliverer, someone to carry the story out of the darkness. But that was crazy. That was the kind of thinking that belonged to people who saw connections where none existed, who found meaning in coincidence, who believed that the universe paid attention to individual lives, who thought the darkness cared. He drove. The road stretched ahead. The sun began to paint the horizon orange and pink and gold. A new day was coming. A day that would separate the night from the normal. He would not be part of that machinery. He would continue his route, deliver his cargo, log his hours, return to a world where explanations existed. But he kept a copy of the footage, hidden in a folder on his phone, named something ordinary. Insurance against forgetting, just in case he ever needed to prove what happened on that forest road, that he stopped for a woman with fear in her eyes and leaves in her hair, that he listened to her story, that he saw what his dash cam recorded, that he was part of something larger than a routine night drive. Evidence matters. Records matter. And some stories need to be preserved even when nobody asks for them, especially when nobody asks for them, because the truth has a way of becoming important at unexpected moments. And when that moment comes, having proof means everything. The sun rose higher. The highway stretched toward his destination. Behind him, the forest kept its secrets. The woman told her story. The search teams prepared. And somewhere in the spaces between trees, in the darkness that never fully lifts, something continued to wait, patient, watching, smiling that empty smile at a world that had almost stopped noticing such things. Almost. The driver merged onto the interstate, joined the flow of trucks and cars heading toward morning routines and ordinary problems. He looked like any other long-haul driver after a night shift, tired, focused, anonymous among thousands. But his phone held footage that proved the night had been anything but ordinary. And deep in his memory, where instinct lived and logic feared to follow, a small voice kept repeating the same question. What if she was right? What if something out there really does show people where to go and what to find? What if we're all just waiting for our turn to be called into the trees? He turned on the radio, found a station playing old country songs about highways and heartbreak, and the simple poetry of distance. The music filled the cab, drowned out the questions, pushed the night back into the past where it belonged, gave him permission to forget. Some truths wait patiently for their moment to resurface, and the forest road held more questions than any single night could answer.